I am not in IT, but in auto repair. But since cars are technology, sorta, and modern automobiles are basically poorly designed computers with barely controlled explosions powering them, I hope my stories will fit in, at least a little. A few years back, I worked for a small, questionably honest, used car dealership and repair shop. I am a service writer, which means I am the interface between customers who are idiots and the technicians who are mostly felons. Think Tom Smykowski from Office Space. I will warn you ahead of time. I am not the hero of my stories, just the protagonist. There are no heroes in the car industry. We are all villains in our own ways. It was a typical gray, rainy day in my part of the world. My horrible old Windows mobile giant brick phone lit up with the number of our computer guy, who was a blatant insult to IT professionals everywhere. No one knew why he got hired nor why he managed to still be employed, given that things like Macintoshes and Linux completely baffled him. We will call him Incompetent Tech Guy, just to avoid besmirching the term IT by associating him with it. I answered service. This is 360-55512. Incompetent Tech Guy said, How do we do the numbers for the cars? This was fairly typical for one of his questions. Barely a sentence, much less something with any discernible meaning. I said, I am sorry? I am not sure what you are asking. He replied, the numbers for the cars. Do we start with 1 and work our way down, or what? I told him, oh, the inventory numbers. I gotcha. No, we just take the last 4 of the VIN. Every car sold in the US and Canada has a 17-digit code stamped everywhere on the car that provides details about it, like the make, model, engine, and serial number. That is unique to the car. At a dealership, it is really important to keep track of what car is what, so you do not get all the silver Golfs mixed up, which is another story. We just used the last 4 digits of the VIN to keep track of who was who, and since our inventory was never more than 30 cars or so, we had not yet had an issue with it. My conversation partner hung up abruptly, which was typical for his stunted social skills, and I went back to shopping for parts for my Jeep. Just as I was about to drop a new set of off-road lights onto my Amazon wish list, an email popped into my inbox. The email read, Attention staff. From now on, inventory numbers are to be the last 6 numbers of the VIN, not the last 4. Signed, Incompetent Tech Guy. He was known for his grand proclamations that rarely were connected in any way to reality, and even more rarely were actually approved by the owners. I got on the horn with one of the owners, who we shall call Ram, since he so precisely matched both the demeanor and dental hygiene of the Deep Space Nine character. Ram said, Tech Guy says that the last 4 digits isn't good enough, that there could be duplication, and that would be a whole clusterfuck. I told him, well, he is not wrong, but it is like a 1 in 10,000 chance for each car, and we only ever have 30 or so cars. It has never happened, and it is going to be a mess to change every record in the computer system to all new inventory numbers. Why not leave it alone, and if we have a collision, worry about it then? Ram snapped back, no. Last 6. Fix it by the end of the day. Whatever. I had long since given up arguing with Ram. It never went anywhere. And I was getting to the point where I was burnt out enough that the fallout from his poorly thought-out decisions was beginning to be less irritating and more just plain entertaining to watch. I spent the afternoon making new key tags for all the cars and updating all our records in the database to have the new 6-digit inventory numbers. The next morning, my instant messenger lit up. It was Ram. He asked, can you give me a printout of the paperwork on number 9721? I felt my face curl into the biggest grin since the Cheshire Cat. It was time for the full idiocy of this unnecessary renumbering scheme to be truly known. I messaged back, I need the last 6 of the VIN. Ram said, why? I do not have the last 6 of the VIN, just 9721. I replied, well, as you will remember, we are using the last 6 now. I cannot look it up by the last 4 anymore. My phone immediately rang. I made it less than 1 word into my customary greeting. I managed to say, serve, before Ram cut me off. What the fuck? Why do we need the last 6 of the VIN? I said, you remember yesterday when we switched over at the behest of our tech guy? Well, I switched over all the records like you wanted. So I gotta have all 6 digits to look anything up. Ram screamed, fuck. I have this paperwork from last week, and it just has the last four. I just said, how about that? There was a long pause. I started to feel a little bad for Ram. No doubt he had a customer in his office at the moment trying to negotiate pricing, and he needed one of our patented fake inspection forms to prove that the car was a peach. I remember the car, a fairly rare diesel Passat wagon in a lovely gray. It would have been a nice car if it weren't a Volkswagen. I could perfectly well have looked the car up by the last four, since I knew exactly what it was, and there was only one diesel Passat wagon in the inventory. But after spending most of an afternoon putting the stupid plan into action, I thought better of it. Rum asked, what am I supposed to do with this? I told him, well, you could find the car and give me the last 6 off the VIN tag. Otherwise, we are stuck. Ram lost it. The car is not here. It had a wobble on the test drive, so I sent it up to the alignment shop. I have got a customer about to walk. Here. I replied, I didn't know, man. Wish I could help you, I really do. The line went dead, and I went back to pretending like I was working. An hour later, my mole in the sales department texted me to let me know the customer had walked and we had lost a big sale. She asked if I had any idea why Ram was in the tech guy's office and what all the shouting was about. I started to smile, but just then an email popped into my inbox. It read, attention staff. From now on, inventory numbers are to be the last 4 of the VIN, not the last 6. Signed, Incompetent Tech Guy. Victory. It tastes so sweet.